From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. We're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. Go online to papajohns.com and check out their specials. You can have them cook for you some night when you're watching some football or some baseball, Barry. Hey, let's go to the inbox, email questions that we answer here on video. Let's get started with Larry, who says, with Keith Ford's injury not healing as fast as expected, would the OU coaches try for a medical redshirt even if he's ready to go with a few games left, especially if Samaje Perine and Alex Ross are still healthy?
Well, I think the answer is possibly yes. Now, if OU's still in the national championship hunt, I think no. Everybody's everybody's on deck, and let's go. But if let's say the Sooners have another loss, I think then the coaches would say, you know what, Perine's he's a wonderful horse. Ross is a good backup. We can get it done with those two. Let's bring Keith Ford back a year from now with an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, I think that if they are still in the hunt, still with that one loss on their record, if you bring back Keith Ford, you know what you get? You get another pass catcher. I mean, obviously he's a running back and they're going to hand it to him some, but he can catch it out of the backfield. And we're now seeing that the Sooners are very thin at guys that can catch the ball. They're throwing it to Sterling Shepard, they're throwing it some to Blake Bell. And after that, it gets a little bit troublesome. So to have another guy out there that Trevor Knight could throw the ball to, I think they would welcome that. I think they would love that. I think Trevor Knight would love that. So I think he would come back as long as it's still a one-loss team. All right, Barry, let's go back to the inbox with Pat. Pat says, I'm an OSU fan, but can be realistic at times. A 15th ranked team should be able to go 3-3 the next 6 games. I would put the over-under at 1 win, and I would take the under. Can OSU win 3 of their next 6, Barry?
Well, I don't know about 3 of the next 6. I think they can win 2 of their next 6. I mean, when West Virginia comes to Stillwater, when Texas comes to Stillwater, clearly OSU will be favored. And I think there's a good chance OSU wins those games. Now, they have to play well. West Virginia offense, Texas defense, both are elite. But I think OSU wins those games. Now, those other road games are going to be tough to win in Norman, in Stillwater, in Waco. Going to be very difficult to win in those places. So, and of course Fort Worth on Saturday. So I don't know if OSU can finish out at 3-3, but I definitely think they can go 2-4. And if they do, they're sitting at 7-5. And who knows if they get the offense rolling? I mean, OSU anything's possible because Big 8 has shown itself to be fairly parity driven. And the OSU defense, which we thought was going to be the weak link, is playing very well. So if they can get that offense moving a little bit, you raise the ceiling a lot.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, I mean, I think 2 wins are definitely a for sure. I said before the season I thought it was entirely possible OSU would get themselves bowl eligible, so get their 6th win before Halloween and not win after that. Well, that was before TCU showed us that they can run the spread offense really well, and that was before Texas, kind of continued to look like Texas of the last few years. So I think that equation has changed a little bit, but I still think OSU can get over that 6-win mark, which frankly, considering all the rebuilding, and again, you lose your starting quarterback. Let's not forget they're playing with their second team guy. I think it would be a huge accomplishment for this program to keep going forward to finish 7-5. And who knows, maybe you steal one on the road. Maybe you get that 8th win. All right, Barry, back to the inbox. Brent says, the injury Kevin Durant suffered could be a blessing in disguise. This Thunder team has struggled in key moments to establish a clear identity of whether this is a one-man team or a team. Barry, what about that?
Well, it's not a blessing of any kind when your superstar gets hurt. But there are benefits to it that I think can happen. I don't know that it's establishing an identity of team, but I do think it's this. One, it's going to rest Kevin Durant, and Scotty Brooks has sort of had a tough time figuring out how to rest Durant down the stretch of seasons the last several years. 2, I also think this is going to give some of the younger guys, the Perry Jones, the Jeremy Lamb, those guys, a chance to step up and show that they're capable players and build some trust with the likes of Russell Westbrook and Reggie Jackson and Serge Ibaka. So I think those are silver linings that can be a benefit. You'd much rather have Kevin Durant playing the whole time, but without him for 15, 20, 25 games, those are residual things that could prove to be positive.
Yeah, I think silver linings is the way to look at this. And I tell you, one other silver lining, and I think this sort of hits back to Brent's point, is that offense and an offense that moves more, that distributes the ball to different guys. We saw it in the first 2 preseason games when Kevin Durant was still healthy, a lot better ball movement. Russell Westbrook was actually asked the other day about whether it'll be difficult to continue to have that kind of ball movement. He essentially said, obviously this isn't as good a team, but now that becomes even more important. So he, as the point guard, understands that they need to throw it around even more so without Kevin Durant, and a guy that can establish, whether he's in a one-on-one situation or going to the hole. So if they can continue to, evolve that offense that looks like it's more ball movement driven, I think that's a real positive too. And maybe the impetus is even higher without Kevin Durant on the floor. All right, back to the inbox one last time from Tim. He says, I'm not a Kendrick Perkins basher. I like him. But don't you think that Kevin Durant's injury pretty well assures Steven Adams will start?
I think it's a good indicator because clearly no matter which direction the Thunder goes with replacing Durant, it's going to be a big step down in offense. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to find some points somewhere, and Steven Adams is showing, particularly this preseason, a guy that you can go to for points. So I think it's possible. I think it's more likely. I don't think it's a certainty though. Because you never know what if Anthony Morrow starts. Well, then all of a sudden, a pretty good offensive player, not much of a defender. You'll need more defense in there. So I don't think it's for sure. I don't think it's a home run, but I think it's likely that Adams starts out the season in the lineup.
Yeah, I think I've come around to think that Steven Adams is going to be the guy who starts. I said before preseason camp got going that I thought Kendrick Perkins would be the guy before we found out Perk was nursing an injury. And even more, here's why I think Steven Adams is the guy. I don't think it's necessarily because of Perk being hurt or Durant being hurt. I think it's because Steven Adams is showing he is going to be an awesome player for this team and maybe for a long time to come. Offensively, he's evolved. You can see he's better offensively. Defensively, there's probably going to be some times when you think, man, Perk wouldn't have missed that assignment. Perk would have defended that. But Steven's athleticism, I think, makes up for some things that Perk didn't necessarily have. So we'll see how that balances out. But I think Steven Adams' performance has been the reason that he's established himself as the guy that will start. Whether he will or not remains to be seen. But he's made a great showing in the preseason. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.